Hello and welcome to Garrett Farms. We're back with another episode of Campaign of France, and we've got to do a little bit of tillage here. Last episode, we got all of our wheat planted, or I should say barley. I think we actually planted the barley over there, and we wanted to get this field seeded with grass because we're going to need quite a bit of grass for our sheep. Now, off camera, I have been just a little bit busy. We're going to have to kick this series into high gear. We've only got a few days left before Farm Sim 22 comes out, and I really want those achievements before Farm Sim 22 comes out. So this episode, we're going to get this grass in because that's going to cut down on the amount of planting and tillage type work we have to do pretty drastically. We'll be down to just mowing and putting that grass into the sheep pens whenever we need it, which should be pretty straightforward. We did sell the bales and eggs that we have on the farm here. In fact, if we take a quick look at the menu here, you can see I sold $4,000 worth of wool. That was 4 pallets. I sold for about $1,000. I think the price was pretty low, but you know, we're in a hurry. We don't need money that desperately. We just needed to get the stuff out of the way. And I sold $1,800 worth of harvest income. I believe that's the eggs that we sold because I haven't sold any other crops. The eggs surprised me. I think I was getting like $300+ per carton of eggs. And we had, I don't know, quite a few cartons there. So that was a pretty good investment for how little input we had to do into those chickens. I've been pleasantly surprised at how well our animals have performed in this series. I know I haven't done a lot of chickens or sheep in the past, and so this has been quite the fun experiment here. I'll be very curious to try out all the different game mechanics in 22 and kind of see how they've changed. It's been interesting doing some base game playing here before we get into 22. I know 22 is going to have seasons, so we'll be jumping right back into playing with seasons again as soon as we get into FS22. This has been an interesting series for me so far because I haven't played without seasons in so long, years I feel like. And it's been fun relearning how some of the things work without the seasons mod installed here. I'm going to wrap up the tillage on this field, and we'll be back when we're ready to get into seeding some grass here real quick. All right, we've knocked out this tillage real quick here. Got just a couple of little spots here and there that we didn't hit. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. We're going to go ahead and get this little drill out and hooked up here to our tractor. We should be able to seed that grass just about as fast as we cultivated here. In fact, I think the seeder goes just a smidge faster here. So then we should be able to make pretty quick work of this. And honestly, that's going to be the last kind of necessary job on our core farm for a while, which is going to allow us to get back into doing our contracts. We've got 100 contracts that we need to knock out here before the end of this series, and if I remember correctly, we've managed to do 11 so far here, so we've got about 90 to go. So we've got our grass seed all loaded up here into the seeder, so we're gonna just dive right into this and see how far we can go. I think we made it through our barley pretty easily on a single tank of seed, so I'm not expecting that this is going to take that much seed for us to knock out here. We're taking off the headland passes here first just to give us some room to turn around. There is a fence back there behind those bushes that I have a tendency to get stuck on fences and stuff like that, especially if we want to use a worker to knock out a few of these passes. This equipment is really small, and so we've been kind of going at this for a while on some things. It doesn't take that long. I like the feel of this map and the size of the equipment. It matches up so well. This is the perfect map for trying out equipment like this. But it does take quite a few passes. And we are on like 60x speed, so this is the day after we planted our wheat. Another thing I'm not used to with base game is seeing that our wheat is all ready here and I believe ready to harvest because we don't have seasons installed, so that's a harvestable texture there if I'm not mistaken. Well, let's take a look at the map. Yep, our wheat is already here and ready to be harvested. And so that's just crazy to me. I keep saying wheat, it is barley, but that's something we'll have to get used to here. I'm not sure we're going to jump into that harvest just yet. It is the afternoon here. We should have another day. Let me look at our game settings here. Plant growth is on normal. I guess I can put that down to slow while we're here. And that should give us a little bit more time to get things done in between. We're not going to need that much crop to keep those chickens fed. Everybody's telling me that we get 10 days for a feed trough in base game. And so we've got plenty of feed in the animal troughs here for us at this moment. We'll slow down our growth to match up with that. I've got a full field of grass over there that's ready to be mowed and put in for the sheep if I need it. And now we've got a full field of barley that's ready to be harvested. Plus, if I'm not mistaken, we've already got some in the bins right now, some leftover wheat from when we did this harvest, over 1,000 liters, 1,500 liters, so we're really set. I'm not too worried about this at all. Although I do have to say, if this keeps up, we may have to get a second electric tractor at some point just to keep up with all the odd jobs that we're doing. We could hire some workers to hop in here and take on some of these jobs for us, but honestly, I don't think it's going to come to that. Although if we get into a pinch, we could hire workers to do the contracts because we're not necessarily looking for money. So we would just have to manage to drive them out to the field, set the worker off, and move on to the next one. Except these fields are so small that I think it would take more energy to set the worker up and get them fired off than it would to just do the jobs ourselves, especially if we continue to pick up fertilizer jobs. So we've got 3 more passes here that we need to make or so, and we'll be all done with grass. All right, there's our last little bit. So I'm gonna just run this right over here and put it back into the shed. And then I think we're gonna skip ahead into the next day, keep that clock moving. We wanna get our animals to continue breeding here, and we'll check in and see how those are after we roll the clock over here. All right, we are back and we've moved everything forward. We've almost filled up the sheep wool pallets here again. We've got 2.5, almost 3 out of our 4 pallets are full. So that's going to be an ongoing process here as we skip days ahead. It looks like we're going to fill that shed up every day with these 30 sheep. So let's look at the stats real quick. We're actually at 32 sheep, and we're going to have another one in a little over an hour here. We're making one every a little bit more than a day here, so we're going to need to continue to speed that process up here a bit. But the chickens are going along quite nicely. I think we started with 45. We're up to 57 already. So we need 100 chickens, I believe, and 30 sheep. So we're not quite 10% of the way there on sheep, but more than 10% of the way there on the chickens. So our chickens are going to hit that point a lot faster. We're at about half for our wheat and barley here. So I think what we're going to do is real quick hook up the trailer and get everything fed here. And then we're going to go do some contracts real quick. So we'll start by getting this grass trailer hooked up here. I believe we've got a little bit of grass in here. And so the idea being, let's see if we can get this dumped out and emptied here. And plus it was in the way. We needed to move it anyway if we're going to get the wheat out of the bin. And so that's what we're going to do here. Now I do have time on, I think about 60x. So you can see, even though we just cleaned out the pens, we've already got grass on the ground out here in the spill area. So we're going to have to just continue to deal with that a little bit. And then we're going to just dump this in here. We've got some sheep that like to be in the way, but it looks like we managed to get this all emptied out, which is going to come in handy as we need to start harvesting here. So for ease of use, we're not going to bother putting this away just now. I think we're going to need it here sooner than later, since we are officially now out of the grass that we had stored up. We're going to need to do some mowing and harvesting here at some point in the not too distant future. Let's get this trailer hauled over here and put the sides back on so we can get our wheat out of the silo here, or the bin system. And we'll go with the basic sides like we had before, since that's not going to cost us any money whatsoever. And we'll just take all the wheat that we've got. I'm thinking we're going to be able to get all of this into the chicken feed area. I'm not sure, but it seems likely. Although that chicken feed thing looks a little bit fuller than I thought it would. Maybe the chickens aren't nearly as hungry. I thought we were down to about half, so let's see how far this goes. Oh yeah, they're taking a bit more than I anticipated, so they used up all of that wheat as well. We're going to need to feed these guys a little bit faster than I was anticipating here, so I'm guessing it's not a full 10 days here, because I don't feel like 5 days has passed so far, but maybe I'm wrong. We did get our next sheep though, so I'm excited about that. We're up 3 sheep now from the total. But today's last order of business, I think, is going to be to knock some contracts out. So we're going to do it. We're going to be a little cheesy. Let's get this dry fertilizer unit hooked back up and go knock out some fertilizing contracts here. Better head on up to the store and fill this guy up. All right, we are all filled up on dry fertilizer here. And it looks like our first couple of contracts are right outside of the store here. I did go ahead and pick up all of the fertilizer contracts that are available on the map here, just to make our lives easier. We are using the, I forget what it's called, the enhanced contract, better contracts, that's what it's called, to allow us to pick up multiple contracts at a time here, which is very handy when you're trying to get 100 contracts knocked out. So that's what we're going to do. And while I've got the HUD up, I know a number of people have reminded me in the comments that I'm going to need a charging station for the electric tractor at some point, and that we haven't put one of those on the farm yet. And my answer to that is that we're not really using that much energy. We're down to about 25% of our total capacity right now. Honestly, I'm kind of wondering if I could finish this series on a single battery charge. That would be kind of funny, I think. So that's what we're going to try and do, just for the fun of it. I'm not getting a completed message here for field 31. So I'm going to kind of try and move around here, see if I missed a few bits. I had to have missed, it looks like, a couple of spots. There we go. Contract finished. My goodness, these little fields, it's you got to get it spot on, where normally in a big field you could leave a few passes and not worry about whether or not you completed. So we're going to knock those out. And taking a look at the map, we're going to need to come down here. So we're going to go hit 24 and 23 and then work our way over to the rest of these fields real quick like. So we're up here at field 24. I feel like this is definitely the largest field on this map, which is kind of funny because it's really not that big of a field. So we're gonna go ahead and knock out 24 and 23 real quick here. They're right next to each other, and jump over and see if we can knock out a few more contracts. That is 2 more contracts knocked out. Let's head on down the road here and fill up our fertilizer real quick on the way and go knock out a few more. All right, we just wrapped up 2 more contracts here on fields 11 and 13. And so we're going to head on back up to the farm. That's all the fertilizer contracts that were available today to do. And so I believe that was 5 contracts that we just knocked out. Here, let's pull over for a moment and check the logs. I stand corrected. We did 7 contracts in this session. So that brings us to a total of 18, which is not all of the contracts we need. There are 2 achievements we need, 50 and 100. And I'm hoping they stack, not we get to 50 and then we have to do 100 more, because I might lose my mind if I have to do 150 contracts. But the fact that we're already at 17 is on pace with how our animals are progressing through this series as well. So we've gotten to that somewhere in the 10 to 20% progress mark for both our sheep and our chickens, and now our contracts. So I'm feeling really good about our progress here. We're probably going to pick up the pace here over the next several episodes and see what we can do to start knocking these achievements out. We only have a few more days here until Farm Sim 22 comes out, and I want these achievements. And so we're going to be focusing on what we can do to knock these achievements out. We'll probably only have 1 or 2 more episodes left in this series, so stay tuned for a lot of action here in the next episode. That's all for today. Kedrick out. In fact, if we take a quick look at our menu here, we can see, if we look at the right menu, animals have performed in this season in this series. So I've been very, blah, blah, blah. Running into the tree. It helps if you turn the planner on. Yeah, I've got no idea what happened, but we had to reset the broom, so I'm driving the tractor all the way up to the store to bring a broom back. And my answer to that is to crash into a tree. Hey, buddy, I'm right here. This does not look like a legitimate field entrance into field 16.